how to use Zoom. I subscribed about 6 months ago and thought, oh, that's a great thing to have, and never used it since. But it's now, we're having a few meetings this week with Zoom, so we're getting right into it. So, okay, welcome to our next update. Hang on, just gone too far. I've just got to work out how to get rid of you guys, so that's better. And I'll just go back one. So, this is our second update. As we said last week, we had about 23 people on board, but behind that there was quite a few other people, and a few people caught up with the YouTube channel. We'll make a copy available of this on our website and via our email and a recording, and we'll also probably print out some bits and pieces for you guys to sit at home at night and read, because there'll be nothing else to do. So we'll open up the floor. We'll skip over a few items that we've covered last week, because obviously some of it, so I haven't included some of the calculations because, you know, you can go watch the other one, which will be similar in some areas. Okay, I've got to put up the disclaimer. This presentation is, and the information I provide you will help you not in any way avoid the virus, but let's hope all of us are going to keep healthy. It's a virtual presentation and you won't catch the virus from listening to me today, and thankfully no one did last week. The information is accurate at the date of presentation, but as I said, it's a moving feast. I don't have all the answers. I've done quite a bit of reading, quite a bit of staying up last night watching, you know, news reports and reading up on ATO websites and stuff. So I'm like you guys, just it's coming at me and I'm just having to try and digest it. We're open for business. I don't think it's normal. We are strong. We're ready to fight the battle. And, you know, as with good healthy practices, we are limiting our meetings now to online as of today, so we don't get the dreaded virus. But we're here to try and help you. So on that note, it's going to be a long couple of months, but I can't get to everyone straight away. So just bear in mind, if you leave a message on our phone or whatever, you know, we'll get to you. We do have phone problems, but we hopefully on the way to resolving that. Okay, so the things we know and the things we can do. So we all know that cash is king. We know that the government's making lots of announcements on the run. Some are conflicting, as we saw yesterday. Be patient, as we'll assist you as the ATO alert us on what we can apply. We can't assist you with Centrelink matters. Centrelink is in meltdown. The queues down at the Cheltenham one apparently were quite large, and they're probably all over the country. We can assist you to access your superannuation. We'll try and give you practical advice on your business and on taxation. Keep strong and don't panic, because the good thing about this whole thing is we're all in it. There's no hiding. Okay, so this is what we did last week. I reckon it's probably changed a little bit. The virus disruption is going to hit everybody. You know, no one will get unscathed. Yes, the local IGA is doing a booming business, but it's still, you know, it's still tough for everybody. So they're copping abuse and all the rest of it. Yes, there is some businesses out there that have absolutely come to a standstill. And unfortunately, you know, that's just going to be the way of this virus is, you know, taking havoc around the world. So let's see what is on offer. Okay, so we know that the government is looking out for small business as much as they can. You know, and I, being a local accountant, said we need to help each other get through this. So let's just do a recap of what they said last week. So they came out and they said the government is supporting Australian business to manage cash flows and retain employees. So their focus, whether you like it or not, is around supporting people to stay in jobs. That's basically what they come out and said. So that is going to impact on people that don't employ. We know that they want to boost cash flow for employers so they can try and keep people as active as possible. There'll be temporary relief for distressed businesses. There's the increase of asset write-offs, which I think, you know, if you can't be in business, you're not going to go out and buy a new car. However, I just got an ad from Mazda say, come and test drive a new Mazda. But, you know, am I going to do that? They're going to back business investment and they'll support apprentices and trainees. So it's really around that focus of employment. However, there is a few things that we can work through that's going to help you. So I think we went through this last week. Just a quick reiteration. Most of all of my clients are under 50 million. It's for those entities that employ workers. And also the payment will be delivered by the ATO from the 28th of April. So that's really important because you've got to understand that the government says one thing and the ATO is like the little caboose coming behind. It's got to get its systems in place. So, you don't go knocking on the ATO's door and saying, where's my money? Because for a week or two or a couple of weeks or a month, they're not going to be able to process any of that, what the government's proposing. And we've seen that already. So I've updated this, it'll be equal to 100%. So that was last week's thing. So now, there's a little typo, and up to a maximum of 50,000. Eligible businesses that pay salary and wages will receive a minimum payment of 10,000, even if they're not required to withhold tax. Okay, so the timing of the payments, we'll go through that very quickly. We went through that last week. They're going to give it to us in 14 days post lodging the BAS returns. It'll come to a credit. So, there's some integrity issues there. If you owe tax, they're not going to give you, we'll leave that aside and give you this payment. They're going to apply that against the existing debt. So we've just got to manage that with you and work out how it's going to impact your business. So as I said, note systems are not yet in place. So we're waiting for systems to be able to access ATO BAS refunds, access superannuation, access loans. Today, yet ATO and Centrelink crashed, so please be patient. I think everyone just jumped on board Centrelink and MyGov, hoping that they could get their whatever is on offer. So, of course, that's going to continue. There is a little bit of a worry for all of us is how will this NBN and internet play out and whether we can actually continue doing what we're doing. So, more and more people are jumping online. But we'll wait and see. We're going to be positive. Okay, so here's the timing of the BAS payments. We went through this last week. Quarterly, don't forget it's averaged out for the monthly one. So the quarterly will get theirs on the 28th of April and the 28th of July, quarter 3 and quarter 4. The monthly ones will get theirs monthly, and for the first month being March, it'll be an average, and it's 100% of the pay-as-you-go withholding. Okay, so important dates and things to note. Quarterly lodges, March and June. Monthly lodges are on those dates. We'll provide a similar treatment for quarterly lodges with the monthly lodges calculated 3 times the average rate. So, but it's not the average, it's only on the March BAS. So like if the monthly March one for you is low, then that's how they're going to work out your average. So the minimum pay will be applied to the business first lodgement, which is now 10,000. If the payment, I'm not sure how that works with the whole system. We'll just have to look at that. I just realised that might be a bit complicated because I'm not sure if everyone's just going to get 10,000. We'll just work through that. And if the first payment is more than 50,000, then there's no further payment. So that's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of integrity issues that are still being discussed, coming out. There's starting to be some, I don't think it's legislation, it's some sort of regulation on how this will work. That's my homework for tonight. So here's a couple of, so what they've said, there's going to be another part 3, I believe. New measures, part 2, replace old measures announced last week. So under the enhanced scheme, employers will receive a payment up to or equal to 100% of their salary and wages withheld, up from 50%, with the maximum payment being increased from 25 to 50,000. In addition, the minimum payment is being increased from 2,000 to 10,000. An additional payment is also being introduced in July and October, period. Eligible entities will receive an additional payment equal to the total of all the boosting cash flow for employers' payments they have received. This means that eligible entities will receive at least 20,000 up to 100,000 under both payments. So I'm not sure exactly what that will mean. We'll work through that and probably come back to you in the next week or so with some more details. But that, I mean, that's a good thing. But But again, we just got to work out how it logistically will work. There is a few people that are actually sole traders, and I've had a couple of questions. What happens to them? Or you've got a family trust, and for good reasons over the last umpteen years, we haven't paid you a wage. We've distributed money to you or your family, and saved on work cover and other things. There's still some things you'll get, so I'll just quickly go through that, and then I'll talk about family trust specifically in a sec. So you're going to get the asset write-off. That's a given. So if you've got money and you're thinking about buying a car, now's a good time. I'm not sure how easy it is to access finance yet. A time limit of 15 months for investment incentive. So you'll be able to deduct, that's for anything above 150,000. You'll be able to deduct 50%. Family trust, we're investigating the integrity issue as to whether you can pay trustee wages. We're still looking into that one. We're also looking at, you can use increased and accelerated income support. So if you're a sole trader, you can then go and grab, the supplement to be paid at $550 a fortnight. I'm not sure how that one will work. That will go through Centrelink, but it's worth a note. So there is some benefits there for sole trader, and I reckon as sole traders sort of arc up a little bit and say, what's in it for us, the government might relook at that. So tips to note: if you don't pay wages as an owner, you may not get the benefit of the 50,000. We'll look at whether we can pay directors' fees for principals, and we'll discuss with each client. Obviously, making fraudulent BAS declarations are a criminal offence, so we're going to do wages. We're going to do it properly. We've got SGC work cover and payroll tax also still need to be covered. We're not sure if it's per entity registration for the 25K or limited to a group registration. I think there's some details that might have come out this afternoon. I've got to just delve into that a bit further. One of the comments that someone said to me is that, if we up our wage, we're going to be paying more tax. Well, correctly, this is for employers, it's not for employees. So employees will still get their pay-as-you-go with health certificate, and the employer actually gets the rebate. So it's not. So if you're employing people, that's what it's for. So if you're a director and you pay yourself 50,000 and you don't want to pay you that much, or you decide you need to pay yourself that much, the tax on that would be about $10,000. That's what you're going to get back. And you'll still declare your 50,000 as an income, but your tax is covered. So the employer or your company will get back the money, not you personally. Okay, so the 150,000 instant asset write-off. So quickly, we went through that last week. It's for eligible assets up to 150,000. The asset can be new or used, including private sales. There is a $150,000 limit for each individual asset, so you can buy multiple assets. Now, if you're starting out a business and you're cashed up, it's a good time to look at it. There'll be no limit on the number of assets acquired. You can get finance on commercial HP or chattel mortgages. Obviously, finance leases won't work. And it's only a short-term initiative. Now, all these things are dependent. We could see that we could go into a really bad situation and Morrison will come out and say, oh, yes, no, we're going to extend this for another 6 months. So we've just got to watch what's going on. But don't rely like the previous write-off that will just extend year after year. I don't think the government won't be able to afford it. We've got the 50% instant depreciation write-off for assets above 150,000. So look, asset-wise, if you've got the money and you're thinking of a new Maserati and you can do that, or you're going to buy a new machine or whatever, now's the time. But don't forget that date. It's from the 12th of March to June the 30th. Very important. So assets prior to that, you'll get some depreciation, but it's not, you've got to get within that date. And the tax office down the track will take a look at that. I've heard of people trying to squeeze in certain dates, and the tax office will look at the contract. Look, the other thing to note, which is quite a bit of a misdemeanor that people don't understand, when you buy a car for, let's say, $50,000, it's not a $50,000 tax refund. It's actually depreciation on that. Now, depreciation is allowable deduction anyway. What this is doing is just accelerating that, which is bringing it forward, which is handy if we need to reduce your tax level to a low level, or we don't want to pay tax for this reason because it's a tough time. But it means that if you buy a car for $50,000 this year, and we write that off this year, there's no more depreciation. And then if you sell it 2 years later, you've got to give back some of that money to the tax office. We have to put in an entry because you've obviously made a profit on it because you've written it off in year one. Okay, the apprentice subsidy. I've had a couple of people in the last couple of days ask about that. It's another good way to get some money back into your business. It's got to be quite straightforward. The apprentice or trainee must have been in training with a small business the 1st of March 2020. It's of employers of any size. Now, for you guys, it's not something that's done through the tax office or the through your BAS. It's actually done through your apprentice network provider. So they will be contacting you, and you can't, like everything, you can't apply until probably after Easter by the looks of it, or around Easter. So we just got to be careful that you make sure that if you've got apprentices, that you've actually, you go follow that up yourself. It's not something that we can really help you on that one. But I'm sure your apprentice group would come back and give you some information if they haven't already. So, okay, quickly, we went through these last week. Look, in a nutshell, we'll send this out to you. The tax office, I had heard some stories about them chasing people. But generally, they're out there. It's like the Kevin Rudd days plus better. They're here to help you. They're here to get you through this. You can't not pay tax. I mean, the government's going to need money to fund all this stuff. But, and for some of it, we'll get back refunds on pay-as-you-go installments and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to not have to pay tax. So at this stage, if your company was going to have a $20,000 tax bill,
2 minutes. Can you check on Lisa on the bathrooms?
I just think I just might cut a few people off somehow. Somebody has got access to this. Hold on. We had this once before. It was actually someone that had a canary in the background, and it ruined my own presentation. I've muted this guy. Okay, sorry about that, Steve. So there you go. So look, the tax office are going to be they're going to be helpful, but of course, if you get a refund, if I ring up you and say, look, we can get you back your $20,000 that you paid in installments, just remember when we go to lodge your tax return in the year after next, assuming we all survive this, which I'm sure we will, you're still going to find them to $20,000. Now, we'll worry about that down the track. Immediately, we need to survive, but some of these things that we're going to dig our holes in, we're going to get out of those holes. So, they're offering low interest payment plans or deferrals and stuff like that. They're not saying, oh, Geoff, tell your clients they can miss out on paying tax. That's definitely not a go. But what they're saying is, look, we understand you haven't got the money at the moment. We're all in the same boat, but eventually we want the money. So we've just got to keep that in mind. Anyway, this is going to come out on a couple of slides down the track, so we'll keep moving. Okay, so this is the one where the liquidators are probably still having a field day, but the government realises that we need a safety net to help our businesses get through this. I've had lots of phone calls, will they come and get me if I don't pay my bill and this and that? So let's just clarify a couple of things. The government has said that they're temporarily going to increase the threshold for creditors, so to issue a statutory demand on a company, so it's $20,000. So for those that are unsure of what a statutory demand is, it's when a creditor comes up to you and says, you owe me $20,000. Normally you have 21 days to pay it or I'll see you in court. That's in a nutshell. What the government has said, we're going to extend that 21 days to 6 months. It's only a temporary arrangement. So you've got 6 months to say to that guy, sorry, mate, I got no money. In 6 months, if I haven't responded to you or paid you, then we'll see you in court. So it's a very temporary arrangement. So that probably sees us through to September. It also says that the package also includes a temporary relief for directors from any personal liability for trading while insolvent. So that's where you've gone into debt and you can't pay your bills, which probably sounds like most of us at the moment. And they're going to provide a temporary flexibility in the Corporations Act to provide temporary and targeted relief from the provisions of the Act to deal with unforeseen events due to the virus, basically. And the ATO, how good of them, will tailor solutions for owners or directors of businesses that are currently struggling. So we already know that. So, and how good of them, they're not going to enforce actions, including director penalty notices and wind-ups. So we've got a bit of a reprieve at the moment. However, if you feel like you're really, really struggling, put your hand up. And my friendly liquidator, I've got friendly solicitors as well, they'll give you some good, solid advice on what to do, especially if a creditor is really, you know, going at you unnecessarily. Okay, superannuation. This is a new slide. Came out on the weekend. Individuals struggling as a result of the virus can now access their super early. I know a few people have asked that today. Eligible Australians will be able to access up to 10,000 this year up to June, and then, you know, maybe July you can go get another 10,000. Again, it's a good access to be able to do, but if you're trying to save for super, again, it's just taking you out of that retirement package. So just think about it, whether it's something you can do or you want to do. You'll need to apply online through MyGov before July 1st. We can help you there, especially for those self-managed super funds that have got to manage it at the other end. The good thing is you don't need to pay tax on the released super, and the money withdrawn won't affect Centrelink or Veteran Affairs payments. So for those that are in self-managed super funds that are in pension mode, they're probably not listening because they're not small businesses. They actually had to take out a minimum amount, and that amount is going to be reduced for the next 2 years. So we'll look at that separately as a separate seminar. And it's designed to benefit retirees, providing them with more flexibility on how they manage their superannuation assets, because probably like most of us, our retirement money has dropped off significantly. So we'll look at those with self-managed super funds. There will be some that are still running their businesses because they can draw it down, but leave that for another week or two before we'll help you on that one. Okay, here's a couple little tips, couple of things I've heard from people that have, you know, I'm getting asked a hell of a lot of different questions. Some of them I know, some of them I don't. Some of them, you know, people are scared, people don't know, and that's what we're here for. I've probably learned a lot in the last couple of days. Last week I learned a lot, and even today I've learned a lot about life and people and how they're reacting. So I'll just quickly go through a couple of things. I'm in lockdown. I don't have the virus. Can I claim income protection? So it's not likely that your income protection insurance will cover you should you find yourself stuck at home and unable to work. Speaking generally, income protection insurance is designed to help you if you develop a long-term illness or become injured or permanently disabled. So a lot of them will have 30, 90-day grace periods before you can apply. So, and of course, insurance companies don't like handing out money too quickly. Will life insurance cover me if I die from the virus? Hopefully you don't die, but yes, it will. So in most cases, the insurance companies are stating you will be covered, which is a good thing. I'm not sure if you decide that you go out and take out insurance this week and say, oh, yeah, I think I might get the virus next week and die, so I just want to cover myself. I don't know how they'll go about that because it's maybe an existing pandemic. Landlords, talking to a real estate agent today, he said people aren't honouring leases. Some are walking out and some are just throwing back the keys. Just be wary if you are a landlord that your tenants are good tenants and they're paying. Maybe good to check up with your agent and see how things are going. If you're renting, stay where you are. You know, it's from out there. I hear that, you know, talk to your landlord, you know, or your agent. I've heard people say that agents are reluctant to do group inspections at the moment. They're very choosy when coming in for new tenants for the next couple of months because obviously, you know, can you pay? The other one that I think came up yesterday quite clearly is, you know, Dan and Scotty are talking, maybe not always on the same page, but get work done because I reckon, from what everyone's telling me, we're going to go into lockdown. So if you've got work that needs to be done, don't think I'll try and stretch it out and keep everyone busy. Try and get it done sooner than later and collect your money because it might be that, especially if you're working in a factory or whatever, or producing something, or out on a building site, you might get told that's it. And then, you know, there's no chance of coming back to it for another couple of months or however long it takes. Hopefully we don't go into lockdown for too long. Okay, now, so Dan, last week, that was Dan last week, he wasn't very happy. I'm probably still not happy because he had going to give us some money back and that's going to impact on what he can do with his, you know, what's going on out there with all the new infrastructure and the new stations and stuff. So, but most of it isn't actually going to help us. Payroll tax, it'll help those businesses with wages up to 3 million. So that's a good thing. But, you know, in average, you know, in small business, you know, maybe that's really affecting, you know, maybe 10% of our client base. It's not going to affect everyone. Renewable liquor license fees are waived. Well, if they're closed, if all the pubs are shut, so they should. Now this one's an interesting one. 2020 land tax deferred for people. So they're not saying they're going to charge you, they're just deferring it for people that have at least one non-residential property and a total taxable value of land holdings of below 1 million. That's unusual. I don't know the answer on that one. It's, that word deferred means they're just going to bill you double in the following year, or they're just going to say for 2020 we're going to just ignore it. Who knows? Don't forget on that, next week is end of daylight savings, and there was some chance that the government was going to move it forward 4 months, but I don't think that will take place. Okay, quickly, we went through these last week. General health measures that should be considered. Increase in stores, work environment, you know, increase your cleaning. Government health guidelines where appropriate. Staff feeling unwell, you know, take precautionary actions, seek medical advice, do all that. So do not come to work, clear to do so. All those good things that we should know about. Last week we went through staff leave scenarios. I don't want to go through that again, but if you have specific issues, look out. We'll do a quick update maybe later in the week or next week. But you can always go watch the previous episode. Discussions with employees. Look, I think everybody has to be honest. You know, we have to be upfront. There's no sugarcoating about this. Explore options. Use your annual leave. Reduce your hours if eligible. Use your long service leave. If all leave entitlements exhausted, the employee goes on unpaid leave. Employee may be able to gain government assistance. If the employee becomes unwell, they can access paid personal leave instead of annual leave, but you need to follow through the medical certificates and all the rest of it. Look at work from home if practical. For small business, it's a lot of work for a boss to manage it, so it doesn't always work. And if it doesn't, you need to call it and work through what you do with your staff. It's important to have guidance so that employees can refer to when it comes to policies around working from home. You know, telling your staff to stay home, what's the sick leave entitlements and stuff like that. You should discuss it with your staff. Maybe long term, it's good to look at, this is good in one way that we're all looking at hygiene standards and maybe it's good to improve our standards in that area. Now, it's interesting talking to somebody today about this. Be clear about your work from home ground rules. Employees generally rate highly the business offers flexible work arrangements, and sometimes it can work well, but often it can go the other way too, because if you've got unstructured, poorly supervised work from home, it can be detrimental for your business, but also for other employees that might be work or whatever. So it's just managing the expectations, the boundaries, and whether it's going to work for you guys. What happens when someone's working from home and disappears for 2 or 3 hours and you can't get hold of them when you need something done urgently. You've got to have policies around all that, and that takes time to implement. And for big business, it's easy because they're already used to doing that. For us in small business, it's probably not that easy, and that's the reality of it. Okay, so what should you do as a small business in the next 7 days? So, every day is a surprise packet as far as I'm concerned, but we can only go what we've been told. Keep looking at your cash flow and your debtors. Make sure that people are trying to pay you. Look at who's going to pay and who can't. So then you can offer repayment plans, talk to your debtors and say, hey, when can you pay us? Keep customers informed. So, social media, I'm a bit of social media junkie. Ramp it up. Get on Facebook, Instagram, Zoom. Do what I'm doing. Get out there and talk to your customers. If you've got a vital supply product, let customers know the availability and production levels and when they'll get that. Because there's nothing worse if a customer's sitting there thinking that you're just going ahead full of production and they ring up and find out where their product is, and they find out, oh no, we've had to scale back, and they're not aware of it, and they get very agitated. If you're an essential service, if you're not, I'd be prepared to eventually shut down. So we talked about that before, maybe sooner than later. Depends who you talk to. Some people say, he'll hold off for a while. Others will say, oh no, it's going to happen by Thursday. So we'll just see that. Talk to your finance company about your loans for temporary relief. You need to ring up your finance company and register that. I don't know, it should be automatic, but it's not for some reason. Talk to us about your superannuation access. Cancel or politely postpone regular direct debits for non-essential products and service. So especially software that you might be using that you use now and again, and you think, look, really, we're not going to be able to use that for the moment. We'll temporarily put that on hold until we get back to normality. It's not saying you're not going to use it down the track, but you've got to prepare yourself that cash flow is going to be a little bit harder. Here's a reminder. Today is the February IS is due today, 23rd of March, which is today. 21st is when it was due, but it moves forward to Monday. It must be lodged as normal this month. I can't tell you to not pay it, but for some people that may be not possible. And then we'll throw that into the mix and see what we can get back for you as a repayment plan. Okay, financially, what should we do in our business? Again, this is what we talked about. Check on your debtors, talk to suppliers and see whether the supply can be made. Review your cash flow. It's very important that you look for that. Reduce staff that are non-productive through no fault of their own. It might be that a machine can't work because you can't get a particular widget. Look signs for recovery and opportunity. Now, this is a bit premature, but hopefully we're going to hit a rock bottom, and then we're not going to see any more people getting sick or dying, whatever's going to happen. And we're going to start to, hopefully, they'll release all the measures they've put in place, and business will get back to normal, whatever normal will be. And if you're really stuck, seek help early. Don't think that you're going to get through it and you get into a bigger hole that you can't get out of. So I'll certainly, where I can help you. If it's beyond my expertise in terms of liquidation and stuff, I'll certainly refer you on to Climate Worrells, and you can have a quick chat with him. He's happy to give some free advice away and has helped my clients in the past. I've been using Worrells for 20 years, so they're good in that regard. Keep the lines of communication. So, we used to have the wartime. Think about, we've got to communicate with people so things get back to normal. You still need to tell your customers that you're still alive and you're still out there. So establish a service plan, a bit of a communication with your staff, your customers, suppliers, and what's happening, and keep yourselves positive. I know it's hard to do, but we've got to do that. Okay, we're getting close to the end of today's session. Can't stress this, and I'm seeing this even with our local Facebook community here in Ormond. You need to know how to use Facebook. It's not evil, as old people, some older people, not all, think. It's there for us to communicate, especially if we go into lockdown, and it's a good way to keep in contact with your customers, and it's a good way to find out information. We're going to continue to put stuff on Facebook as we find it. You can read our blogs and our monthly newsletters and stuff like that, and our Facebook, our website. If you aren't up with technology, good time to start. Talk to your kids. We'll try to help you get connected. It's like learning Zoom. I think the more times I do this, the easier and the more confident we'll get. Okay, so our next move for you, we consider ourselves essential service. We've told you that. We'll be working with clients to find solutions for tax and general business. Some solutions will not be automatic. So, we'll get there. We've just got to wait till the ATO gives us the green light. And it will be frustrating because we already know sometimes, well, we've had this for 18 months. Sometimes we'll try and get in to do something for you, and the tax office says, oh, no, we're down today, or, oh, we'll be back in a couple of hours, or, sometimes it's been whole weekends where we haven't been able to do stuff. So you just got to bear with us, where as technology improves, so will some of these solutions. But there's going to be a lot of frustration with the whole technology thing at the moment, especially with what's gone on today with meltdown. It's like toilet paper, people get told they can get some, dollars, they're onto it, which is fair enough, but there's plenty to go around, and we just got to work through it. We, like all businesses, rely on payment of our clients to pay our bills so we can keep the doors open. So just a little plug there to keep that in mind in the coming periods. We're working through our phone issue. I know Vicky and a guy that's helping us at the moment called Brian. We might have found that solution. We've had 18 months of maybe 2 years of tough times with Telstra. And I know it's frustrating my staff, it's frustrating me, it's frustrating everybody. So just be patient. We're hoping that we'll get that. At the moment, what's happening is you're ringing our office. The girls were answering, they can't at the moment, or they haven't bothered because you can't hear us, we can't hear you, there's a screeching noise. What we're doing is we're watching who the call is, and then we're trying to ring you back. Hopefully we can get a solution, because it's not professional, obviously, and we're a bit over it like everyone else. And also, look, my phone, I can tell you, it goes constantly. I've got to have some downtime at some stage, but we're trying to get to everybody as quick as we can, especially for those that there is an urgent matter for whatever reason. But we'll bear with us. If you send me an email and you don't get a response, try the admin email. Just send us a friendly reminder and say, hey, Geoff, I sent this to you 2 days ago. Did you see it? Because with so much going on, and also, in our profession, we get lots of people trying to grab my email address and sending me lots of, we can help you do this and do that, and you should know about this. So my inbox fills up very, very quickly. Now, let's see. Okay, well, can we open up the floor? I'll try and do that. Okay, so look, before I open it up and let you guys ask questions, thank you everyone for coming tonight online. I know it's a new way of doing it, and it shows to me that it does allow us to do stuff like this. We have tried this a long while ago, and it wasn't much of a response because people like to come and I do too. I like to have a beer with someone and chat and look them in the eye. But at the moment, we're going to keep this communication open. We're going to run this quite regularly. Where Thursday is going to be for the next couple of weeks my networking night, and we'll do half an hour or so. And I'm just going to open it up for everybody that wants to jump on. I'm not going to have much of an agenda, and I'm not going to give you complex tax advice. But what I want people to do is open up. And if you've got a business that people can use, come on board, and I'll probably try and do a bit of adjudication and say, look, you know, Steve Swatlow, the hospitality man down in Ormond, is doing home-cooked meals. I assume they're sensational. You know, I thoroughly recommend him. Craig, the plumber, he's really good at unplugging, you know, your stuffed toilet at the moment, or Cameron Skit, he's fantastic. You know, if you need him for whatever, give yourself a bit of a plug, because, you know, services will still be needed, and especially when things get tough and you try to find a plumber or electrician or a candlestick maker or whatever it is. Having met some of these people online, you just might go, if he's a client of Geoff's, then he's probably a good guy or a lady. We might ask Geoff who he was or she was, and get their details. I'm going to try and open it up. Thanks for coming. Hopefully I've given you some good oil, and you can go away back to your homes and rest up, that we're on to helping you. Just hold on. Okay, now I'm going to unmute everyone. There must be an easy way of unmuting everyone. But I'll, hang on. Yes, there is. Just find it. There we go. Rightio. Okay. Someone's unmuted. Hello.
Hey, Geoff, we can unmute ourselves in the bottom left-hand corner of our screen.
How are you, Justine? We're going to do a little webinar on what you suggested the other day down the track too. So,
great.
Well, that's good, because I know Justine probably used this quite a bit before. So I think you can unmute yourself. Yeah, please do so. And if anyone's got any questions, by all means ask, and we'll see if we can help in any form.
I just want to say thanks for your time, Geoff.
That's all right. What's for dinner?
John's already cooked a lovely creamy pasta.
Yum.
This is the beauty of having hubby working from home.
Yes, well, there you go. Good to hear.
But the downside is he's in my working space.
Oh, no. Okay. Will you look after yourself? Take care.
Thanks, Geoff.
Okay. Anyone else got anything they want to ask? Now, if you need to unmute yourself, you do it in the left-hand corner, apparently.
Hi, Geoff. Hi, Geoff. It's Margot.
How are you?
I'm surviving.
Good to hear. What are you up to?
Gary and I are pushing each other for space, you know.
Oh, right. Oh yeah. Are you both working from home?
He's in and out, but I was going to ask if a law firm is an essential service.
Look, this is interesting. I've been listening to the conversation about what is an essential service, and apparently that's still to be defined by Dan and Scott Morrison, and that's apparently going to come out in the next day or two.